and welcome back to The Movies Made Us Do It. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm pretty good, other than being exceedingly hot.
Excellent. Well, that's good. I've just given away the first, one of the TV show that we're going to be talking about later, because it was already up there. But oh my God, do we have something to talk about? Yeah, I've just remembered. I should have talked to you about this before we started the show. But now, actually, maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe it's better that we get the show started and then we talk about these things. Because often we have these conversations before the show starts and then we have to have the conversation again.
Yes.
I have gone from loving the look of that initial Monsters teaser to being fucking horrified at the absolute shit show that was that last trailer. Fuck me, are they actually joking? I don't think I've seen a worse trailer for a mainstream studio. It's fucking terrible. Like I literally thought it was a joke. I was like, is this a joke? Like I know people have put it in black and white now, and it does look better in black and white, but fucking hell. What was your thoughts? Because I've never been, because I was so hyped for this movie. I was really looking forward to it. I thought that initial teaser, I was like, they've got it. It's properly like the Monsters. It's not like the Monsters at all, and it looks cheap. They're not acting. Yeah. It's not like a sitcom family show, which is what the Monsters is supposed to be. Like, I don't even know what this is. Who is this for?
I mean, it definitely feels like it's a prequel.
Well, it clearly is, yeah.
I kind of liked it.
Did you? I hate it. I absolutely hate it. By the way, though, I really hope I'm wrong because I really want this to be cool. I'm hoping that when I see the show, it'll be great. But Jesus Christ, I'm glad you liked it.
I think the thing is this is difficult because.
Do you know someone said to me, porn parody, and that's exactly what it looks like.
Oh God, that does sound
like it literally looks like a porn parody.
Parodies are usually better than a lot of the.
Well, I mean, there is that.
Anyway, the superhero ones are hilarious because they get the costumes better. Right.
Well, that's probably because they've gone to like their local Smithies and bought,
the thing is I'm still hopeful.
I want to be wrong. I so want to be wrong. I want this movie to be amazing.
It weirdly sort of crammed in all these little bits and pieces that they've taken from, like Herman in the sort of the biker outfit singing.
Yeah, I will say this: like Rob Zombie is clearly a huge fan of the Monsters and understands a lot of the Monsters, which is why it's really weird that the content of the trailer feels so removed from the core of the Monsters. Like I'm seeing things from the Monsters. I'm seeing the Monsters, obviously. I'm seeing references all over the place. But the story is like, no, this is meant to be a family in suburbia. Like the Monsters were they're monsters. Like, I mean, like the Addams family know they're weird, right?
Yeah.
That's their thing. The Monsters think they're an ordinary family, even though they're not. And in this trailer, it's really obvious that they know they're monsters. And do you know what I mean? It's lost. Yeah. It's lost the core elements of what makes the Monsters for me.
I don't know. I think at the end, when the woman collapses, that
feels more like the Monsters. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it might just be that the prequel bit's very early in the film.
Yeah, well, I know some people have said maybe this is just his thing for the trailer.
I hope so. I hope so.
Show's going to be the film's going to be about. I love Sherry Moon Zombie. And
I am very hit and miss.
It was kind of obvious he was going to make her Lily from the beginning.
Yeah.
However,
I think in the right role she's fine.
I'm not sure about that voice she was doing.
No.
That was very odd, and I thought Herman's voice was a bit odd as well.
Yeah,
I thought
Grandpa's great. I'm even like coming around to the mustache thing.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why the
I don't know, but his performance is spot on in my opinion.
Yeah.
And Herman's is fine. Herman's just feels like someone doing a slightly dodgy impression.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
I mean, all the sort of mannerisms are there, the looks there, and I can kind of see why he chose the colours he did. He obviously,
for sure.
You know, he obviously thought he painted them the colours that they kind of are in originally, but you didn't because it was black and white.
Well, he's obviously going for Technicolor, but
late movies. Yeah, exactly. He decided. I guess he sort of wanted to make the rest of the world more hyper intense so that they would fit in better. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the trouble is it's very obviously digital Technicolor rather than genuine Technicolor as well.
Yeah. I think it would have been better if they would have done it in black and white.
I've seen people have taken the scenes and put them in black and white.
Yeah,
it actually looks way better.
Much better.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah,
we'll see. I'm glad you like it.
Well, the thing is, like, I'm still sort of hopeful, and I know I've seen a couple of I'm
just hoping I'm wrong. I'm still going to watch it because I
was a fan as a kid and stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah, huge.
I grew up watching it. I'm not as intensely up on everything about the monsters. I'm not So I've seen a few people who are like.
I wouldn't claim to be an expert, but
yeah, exactly. I've seen experts talk about it.
Okay.
And most of them really hate it. So it's kind of it does make me think, but I don't want to hate it.
Me either. I will give it a shot.
I want to be hopeful.
Yeah.
It certainly didn't turn me off. I did. There were some odd choices, but I thought, okay, I'm still.
That's really cool. We had a very opposite reaction to that trailer. I almost text you, just being like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, I don't understand. But then let's hope. I mean, it's out pretty soon, so I guess I will certainly watch it and review it. So we'll give it a go.
I just sort of think that he's clearly doing his own sort of thing with it, and I think he's being respectful enough. I didn't see anything that made me want to tear my hair out. It didn't look like he was destroying it or anything.
No, I just think it kind of misses the mark, and on a technical level, it just looks horrible. Like, it's kind of. I don't know. I'm certainly willing to give it a go.
It's sort of.
I think it's because I was on such a high from the teaser.
Yeah,
I loved that teaser, the black and white teaser, and then now in Technicolor, that was great. And they should have just stopped there because they had me sold.
It sort of looks like the video, the cartoon videos he does.
Yeah, it does actually.
It had that feel to it.
Yeah.
So I guess I was kind of expecting that to a certain degree, so I wasn't, I guess, so horrified.
Yeah.
It just it did like the video to Lords of Salem or something. That sort of over bright cartoony style that he really likes in some of his videos, and it kind of looks like that, and I didn't mind it so much.
Now that's a good point you bring up Lords of Salem, because I feel like
the film.
Yeah, I feel like my taste in Rob Zombie is opposite to most people's, because that's my favorite of his films, and I think it's most people's least favorite. So
I don't know if people don't like Lords of Salem. I thought that was a fucking awesome movie.
It's really good. But yeah,
it's Zombie's best. It's
and Sherry's best. I think she puts in a really good performance in that movie.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's probably her best performance, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, her Firefly,
Yeah, baby's iconic.
Firefly is iconic, and part of me thinks that's mostly just kind of what she's like.
Well, that's the
Except
reason.
For not a complete psycho, obviously.
That's the reason I hesitate to call that a great performance, because I think it's like her just dialed up a bit,
I think so too. Whereas I think in Lords of Salem, I think that's a proper performance.
Yeah,
it's got a really great female cast list of that. But
Oh, it's tremendous. Like horror icons.
Yeah, complete horror icons. It's I really enjoyed that movie. I think
she's great in though I don't really like the movies, she's great in the Halloween movies as well. Like her performance is great in those movies. It wasn't here though, I don't think, not in this trailer. But
no.
Anyway, we went off on a tangent because I just suddenly remembered that I had to talk about that with you. But
yeah, I would have brought it up later. So.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get to the end of the show and we stop recording and we're like, oh, we didn't mention that. And I was like, no, I need to talk about this. I need to talk about it.
I'm still hopeful. Let's put it that way.
I want to be wrong. I'm going to go in wanting to love this because I've been so looking forward to this, especially seeing the set because he built the whole, rebuilt the whole set and it's so lovingly recreated Mockingbird Lane. It just looks amazing. So yeah, I hope I'm wrong. But,
and it's got, it's got some great little cameos in it as well. You've got Sylvester McCoy and you've got Elvira or Cassandra Peterson if you prefer.
I think she's just Elvira now.
But I think she's Cassandra Peterson in this. I think she's not. I think she's playing the bad guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think people just know her as Elvira now. That's just,
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, let's talk about some movies we have seen.
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, okay. I'll start with Terror on the Prairie.
Terror on the Prairie. Tell us all about it.
So this is the latest Gina Carano movie.
Yeah.
Kind of is why I really watched it. I wanted to watch this movie for her really more than anything else. It's a Western, so that's a plus.
Yeah, you're a huge Western fan, so
So it's directed by Michael Polish, and it stars Gina Carano, Nick Sircri, Donald Corona. Okay, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but and it's basically the tale of Hattie and Jeb, who are homesteaders in Montana. And at the very start, it starts off with this guy running away from like a posse of horsemen, and he gets captured and then gets scalped.
Okay.
And the Circe, the Nick Sircre's captain, is the leader of this little band of guys who, and he's your sort of I would say a massively cliched ridden bad guy. He's
every Western villain ever.
Yeah, he's verse quoting.
Okay, yeah.
And all that sort of stuff, and he's got some sort of vague what's that code, but obviously he doesn't live by it that well because he's obviously an evil bastard.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the homestead of Hattie and Jeb, who you find out basically that Jeb was a soldier during the Civil War, and basically that they're struggling to sort of survive on this bloody awful ranch, and Gina's character is clearly struggling with the fact that she obviously came from money, and I think, and she hates this life, and they've got a little baby, and they've got a young son, and she kind of wants to go back to civilization basically, and obviously her husband is we were going. This was the life we planned, and this is the life we're going to make.
Okay,
go ahead of it. And while he's in town trying to get some work or some money, this group of characters turn up to the house, and
the same group, presumably.
Yes, yeah. And she sort of feeds them at first, and then she sort of sees that they've got these scalps on their horses, and there's a conversation about, he's singing Reb songs, and their son sort of makes a comment about being Rebs, and of course it sort of basically kicks off, and Gina sort of tells them to get the fuck out and leave their guns and get out, and so they do, and of course they come out. Then it becomes a sort of siege movie then.
Oh, okay.
Where she's basically in the house with her children, and they're on outside. There's a lot of gunfire that clearly could have hit people in this movie.
Gunfire that clearly could have.
Yes,
okay.
There's lots of shots that you just think, yeah, well, they're dead, or she's dead.
You're in a tiny wooden house.
Yeah, why are they missing at that range?
Okay.
Even if you're a terrible shot at that range, you're probably taking her face off. But you try and suspend your sort of disbelief to a certain degree. I think, despite the fact that the captain, the main bad guy, is terribly cliche-ridden, the guy's performance is actually really good. He, for the most part, he's actually, he's relatively believable, if a bit one-dimensional.
Sure.
Gina Carano is pretty good in her role, except for the fact that I'm not overly sure I buy her as a sort of. I think that they're trying to sort of, not exactly a meek woman, but they're trying to come, they're trying to make her this sort of, it's hard work and it's terrible and this sort of, and Gina Carano
is kind of the opposite of that.
She's a very built lady, and there's one particular scene where she's fighting this dude, and my head was just going, oh, that dude's just dead. There's no way this dude's gonna. There's no way this guy.
It's called acting, Matt. She's not really severing their spines, and
no, I know. I know it's all acting, but when the dude is like looks like he's half her weight.
I was going to say that the trouble is that she is still built like an MMA fighter, and is kind of.
To sort of they give her this sort of flouncy nightie that sort of. I think they're trying to cover her size in it.
Sure, but then it's like, like in the few episodes I saw of The Mandalorian season 1, it's like, yeah, he's screwed. Like, she is like twice the size of this guy, She's just going to tear him apart, but...
Yeah, she's not a sort of, meek prairie-looking woman. She's a big girl, And...
It's interesting, actually, when I saw this movie... advertised. I assumed that she was gonna be like an outlaw.
I thought, I
which would play into her kind of strengths.
Hunter maybe, or something. That, I think that would have made more sense than trying to make her a homesteader.
I guess maybe she wanted to show off some acting and actually be like, I'll do the opposite to what I'm known for.
She's not terrible.
It's just this. You can't change the fact that she is built like a brick shithouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a terrible movie.
Okay, well, that's good.
But it's not great either. It was just sort of very average.
All right. Well,
I think the guy playing her husband was a little sort of okay. I'm not sure I'd buy them as a couple at all, but fine. The kid actor was fine. It's all kind of. I mean, there's a bit where they go into town and there's the sort of the town sort of set, but it was mostly just on this sort of like this house and barn sort of thing. So that was it was fine.
There's so many of those like Wild West villages in America that they could go film at just really easily.
It's not sort of hard.
No.
But it was okay. I think it was just that. It was an okay Western.
Okay. Yeah.
With especially the bad guy, I think that he had a genuinely good performance. Gina was fine. That's all I can really say about it. It was just a sort of a very average movie.
Sure.
Which is not, it's not a bad thing.
No. It is. Yeah, it is what it is.
I think, I personally, I just kind of watched it because I wanted to sort of support Gina. You know, I just wanted to see.
Yeah, fair enough. It looked okay. The trailer looked reasonable from what
Yeah.
I remember of it.
It's got some really nice gore in it. There's some pretty
practical.
Yeah,
Lovely.
some pretty nice little bits of gore here and there, which
always down with that.
Yeah,
So,
that
you know,
was quite good. So yeah.
Well, from one average movie to another average movie, I saw Uncharted. Yes, directed by Ruben Fleischer, starring Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg, and Sophie Ali. So obviously based on the video games, Uncharted video games, and you know, movie kind of opens with does that fucking irritating like open at the end and then flashback. Because it has to do we have to do the action set piece to open the movie. And remember this from the video game? Here it is. Here it is right at the start of the movie. But then
to be fair, you if you're gonna do an Uncharted,
you want to hit a few of those beats.
You want to hit those buttons because it's Uncharted.
I agree. It's just that I get tired with the whole like start at the end. Then
there's no reason anymore.
Sometimes it works really well, but 90% of the time it's just annoying.
Yeah.
But anyway, then it goes back in time, and we see Nathan is a young kid and his brother Sam trying to steal a map, and they get caught. And Sam gets kicked out of the orphanage. He kind of takes the fall. And he basically leaves, saying that he will return to Nate one day, and he leaves him this ring saying that it belongs to their ancestor. And then we go 15 years later, Nate's now a bartender in New York City, and he also pickpockets on the side.
Still looking about 12.
Still looking about 12, indeed. When he meets Sully, who's this fortune hunter, who worked with Sam. He says he worked with Sam, and they were looking for this hidden treasure of the Magdalene crew. And so, you know, Sully kind of hints that he has information about Sam and where Sam was or where Sam could be. So, of course, he kind of gets Nathan to come along with him. And then we've got Antonio Banderas, evil character who's evil. And basically he's after the money, he's after the treasure himself, and he's hired people to get the treasure. This was it's okay. Like it's like you said with Terror on the Prairie, it's so average and so like fine. It's the most stock action movie. It's not terrible. It's just really derivative. It's like every treasure hunting movie you've ever seen. It's basically the dumb versions of those. You know what I mean? Like it's fine.
I know exactly what you mean.
Like it's not terrible. It's one of those things where it's like it's not terrible, but the games are way more fun, and all of the movies that it's clearly referencing are way more fun. It's got some nice towards the end. It's got some really dumb but fun action set pieces.
Yeah,
like they're literally having a gunfight on old pirate ships that are being held in the middle of the air and flown around on helicopters.
Yeah, I've seen the.
I mean, it's like ludicrous, but it's kind of fun. I think this film's biggest problem is that
it's Mark Wahlberg
and Tom Holland. Now, Tom Holland is charismatic as fuck, and he's great.
He's a really good Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's fine in the movie. So's Mark Wahlberg, fine in the movie. Neither of them convinced me for one shot of this film that they were Nathan Drake or Sully. Not in the slightest. They're not even close. And I think that's the biggest problem with the movie. If you've gone in as a fan of the Uncharted series, he's really not Nathan Drake. I mean, obviously, we all know who should have played this, and he's too old to play it. Unfortunately, I was hoping they might do like a flashback thing, and you could have him as older Drake, and you know that would have been nice. I would have liked to have seen Nathan Fillion
the fan movie he made.
Yeah,
is really, really good.
Really good, yeah, really good.
And it's really disappointing that we never got that movie.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the movie we never got. But this is not a terrible film, though.
I think
I
Tom
would
Holland
say
was obviously chosen because he can do the runny, jumpy.
Yeah, there are some scenes where you forget that he's not Spider-Man. You know, you're just like, oh, am I watching Spider-Man? Maybe. Like, because he does do a lot of the swinging, climbing, and
gymnast, isn't he? He can do.
Yeah, I think he can legit do a lot of things, can't he?
Yeah. I mean, when he did his, they showed his like test screen and stuff, and his audition tape with him just
for
like
Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was just him doing flips and things, which was really cool. So you can see why they would choose him to be Nathan, right?
And he's a fine actor.
But then you do sort of think, yeah, but there are stunt people for that.
There are, and the trouble is as well.
If you can make it look like Liam Neeson is.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, for the most part, it gets a little silly towards in the later ones, but
it definitely does. I mean, the trouble is as well is like I kind of get where you're coming from as a studio. If you wanted to make a franchise and you're like, okay, let's get someone young who can play the character and grow into the role. The trouble is, as I'm sure I said with Spider-Man too, and a few other films that Tom Holland's been in. He's old now. This is as old as he's gonna look. He's not gonna look, like people keep thinking that he's gonna look older soon, and he's not. This is it. This is like obviously he'll go grey eventually, and
he's not gonna get any bigger, and he's not gonna get.
He's not gonna fill out. He's not gonna. He's always gonna have this babyish face that he's got, and that's great and fine, and it works for him. But he just doesn't have as charismatic as he is in this movie, as charming as he is in this movie, and as acrobatic and kick-ass as he can be in this movie. I just don't buy him as Nathan Drake, and neither do I buy Mark Wahlberg as Sully, but that's not a surprise. I mean, we will, No. So yeah, overall, it's fine. I mean, if you don't have Indiana Jones or National Treasure to hand, then fine. Why not?
Yeah,
it feels like
trailers I thought were terrible, and I just couldn't
that?
bring myself to watch it.
Is it Sahara or something like that?
Oh, the one with Mahogany.
Yeah.
It
reminded me of that kind of that like 2005 era action movie. It kind of feels totally like that, if that makes sense.
When they were trying to bring action movies back and not doing a very good job of it.
Yeah, it feels like that. It feels very much like that. But it's fine. Like I said, it's not terrible. It's not great. It's very average.
Have you saw was it Red Notice?
Have I seen Red Notice? What's Red Notice? It rings a bell.
It's the one with The Rock and Gal Gadot.
Yes, I think I said practically the same. I'm pretty sure I gave practically the same review for that.
Yeah, I think because I was pretty sure we both reviewed it.
We did both review it, and I felt I'd forgotten it already, but I felt exactly the same way about that movie as I do about this.
It felt very similar.
And again, a very charismatic lead in The Rock. Very charismatic. Gal Gadot, great, but it's just the script is rubbish and average, and it just feels very generic. Weird with that Red Notice as well, because Netflix went all out with that movie.
Yeah,
it kind of blew my mind. They spent all that money on those actors, and then just came up with that average of a plot.
Was, clearly, franchise bait.
Oh yeah.
There's that everything about that whole thing was, we're starting a franchise with this movie. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah,
it really wasn't.
No. But yeah, so there we go. Uncharted. Not great, but not terrible. If it comes, it'll end up on streaming at some point, and if you're bored one afternoon, it'll pass a couple of hours. There's a place for those.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It's okay if it's a sort of past the time movie, then fine.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, what else have you been watching, Matt?
So I also saw The Black Phone.
Now, this is a film I wanted to watch.
So, directed by Scott Derrickson, who'd previously done the Sinister. I think you wrote the Sinister movie.
Sure.
And he directed The Exorcism of Emily Rose and the biggest thing he's done, obviously, is he directed Doctor Strange.
The first one.
Yes, the first one.
Okay, so those are all films I enjoyed.
Yes, so he was supposed to be doing the second one, but left due to creative differences.
Uh-huh.
And this was the movie he went and did instead.
Okay, that explains the timing.
Yeah, because it was supposed to come out a while ago, but then I think the test audiences were so good that they thought, we'll hold it back for a summer release.
Oh, fair enough.
So they held it back for a bit, and they released it. I think it was.
I have heard very good things about this.
Month, I think they released it. So it's set in I think it's 78, and we are introduced to Mason. Well, no, sorry, it's Finn and his sister Gwen. So Finn played by Mason Thames and Gwen played by Madeline McCraw, and they are your sort of average kids in American kids. They've got a dad who is basically a drunk. At some point, they lost their mother, and Finn is picked on at school. He's got a bully, but he's got a friend that actually sticks up for him, and he sort of saves him from getting a further beating at one point. And while this is going on, kids have been disappearing.
Okay.
And the news are calling this somebody the Grabber. So basically, it turns out it's Ethan Hawke who has this. He turns up in this van and it's, I'm a part-time magician. Do you want to see a trick? And basically, he ends up, he grabs kids like that, and then he takes them to a basement somewhere, and that's all you know at this point. So you end up with Finn eventually getting taken by the Grabber, and he wakes up in the basement of this house, and it's a really big room, and he's got a mattress, and next to the sort of bed there is a black phone which is not connected.
Right.
And the Ethan Hawke's character, the Grabber, he comes down in this amazing mask which has sort of interchangeable faces and stuff, which I think was designed by Tom Savini.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure this is a Savini film.
Yeah, it's a Tom Savini.
I follow him on Instagram, and I'm pretty sure he was promoting this pretty heavily when it released.
Ethan Hawke is bloody terrifying.
Ethan Hawke in the right role is fantastic. Anyway.
Yeah, I've always liked Ethan Hawke, and he's really terrifying. Is this guy who, he comes down and he talks to him, and he sometimes seems slightly sympathetic, and then you sort of think, what's his goal here?
What's the deal?
But you think, well, clearly he's killed these kids,
yeah.
So what's his deal? He basically leaves him to it, goes up to his room, but he leaves this sort of door open, and the phone starts ringing. Well, actually, he leaves the door. It's a bit later, but the phone basically starts ringing, and at first there's nobody there, and then after a while he gets somebody, talks to him, and the voice on the other end is obviously it's a kid, and it says it doesn't remember its name. He says that's the first thing you lose when you're wherever we are, and he says, this is certain things he did do. He'll leave a door open. Don't go through it. Don't, because he'll beat you with his belt. He wants you to come up the stairs. He wants you to do this.
Right.
And each time the phone goes off, he gets another one. And one of the other kids that gets grabbed was the kid that saved him. Was the guy that was into martial arts and loves horror movies and stuff. While this is going on, Gwen, his sister, she has dreams. She has prophetic dreams where she sees things that have happened, and it they basically what you find out that her mother was the same, but her dad, uh, hated that side of her, and he said they're just dreams. There's no such thing as seeing, these things. They're just dreams. That's all they are. And he's a mean drunk, and she's she talks to. There's a bit where the police turn up, and this girl. Apparently at school, she talked to this girl, and she said that there were black balloons there, and of course that wasn't released by the police. So the police are interested in how she knows that there were black balloons at the scene.
Yeah.
So they talk to her, and she says, "I see things" and stuff. And of course, her dad's furious that she's telling people that she can see things. And with Finn and the telephone, that each new voice is like a different kid, but he's telling him something that they did when they were there that will help him. So you can see this sort of what kind of, you can see what's going to happen. It's I wouldn't say telegraphed as a sort of it's telegraphed in a very bad. It's not. It's just that you can see what they're doing, but I think it's done because you're. Oh, how do I put this? It's not that it's telegraphed in a bad way, like you can see it coming a mile off. But it's literally, they're helping him. They're trying to get him out of this awful situation he's in.
Yeah.
I would say, in a lot of circumstances, as we said in horror movies before, you don't need motivations for some of the bad guys. You don't need Michael Myers' motivation.
No, some characters are made better when you don't know.
However, I think with this particular character, there are so many hinted at things that it makes you go, "Oh, I want to know what that is." There's a bit where one of the voices on the phone says about him. He hears the phone, but he doesn't believe it.
Sure.
He doesn't want to believe it, and you think, "Oh, that's interesting," but they don't tell you anything else. You don't find out, how he hears it or why he hears it, sort of thing. So there's these little hints, and maybe they'll do a sequel that tells you those things. I don't know, but that I thought was I'm honestly, in this case, I'd like to have known a bit more. There were some truly, little terrifying bits that you really fear for this kid's safety. I really thought that the two main kids, Mason and Madeline, were absolutely spot on. You really believe them as these lovely brother and sister who sort of protect each other, from their dad, and that there were really great performances, really great characters. Ethan Hawke again is just brilliant. Jeremy Davis plays their dad, and he's good in the sort of the small role that he's got. It's a really, really nice, well done little horror movie.
It really does look that, yeah.
Yeah, there's some really great tension. There's some really good, not jump scares exactly, but just little creepy performances and sort of nasty sort of things that will linger with you. These kids have said and what they've been through. You don't, although you don't, it doesn't go into too much detail. You do hear things and you think, "Oh God, this guy's clearly fucking, nuts. There's something really wrong with this guy." But they don't, like I said, they don't go into it. But yeah, I really loved it. It's really well directed, brilliant performances, nice little horror movie. Yeah, can't recommend it enough.
Well, there we go. That's good news. I'm looking forward to catching this one. I've heard very good things. So
yeah.
So that's great. Well, from one good horror movie to another reasonable horror movie, actually. I was pleasantly surprised. Candyman,
Oh,
2021, I think, due to COVID. I think it was meant to be 2019 or 2020. So yeah, I was, this one turned up on Amazon. I don't know when, but I found it this week. I was like, oh, it's on Amazon now. It's on Amazon Prime. So I thought, I'll give it a watch. I love the first Candyman movie. The sequels, not so much, but
yeah, the first one is still really good.
Still amazing, unsettling, and just the soundtrack. Everything about that first movie is just really oppressive in a really good way. It's such an oppressive,
it's a genuinely heavy movie.
Yeah, like it really, really is, and you really feel that. So I was curious about this one, and directed by Nia DaCosta and starring Yaya, who is far better in this than he was in The Matrix, whatever it was from last year. Coleman Domingo, Rodney L. Lewis III, and Teyonah Parris. So, first of all, I don't know if this is a spoiler. I didn't realize this was a sequel. I thought this was a remake.
Yeah, no, it's from what
it's a proper sequel.
It's an actual sequel.
It is a full blown sequel, which surprised me as I was watching, because I was like, oh, okay, it's a full on sequel. Cool. So yeah, it basically set in 2019, which is kind of funny because isn't like Candyman 3 set in 2020 or 2021? So like,
is it? I didn't remember.
It's technically a prequel to the third one, although I don't think they count that movie as a thing in this universe. It stars a character called Anthony, and he's an artist.
My guess is that this just basically follows the first one. I don't think.
There are references to things that happened in they name the original Candyman, and he got that name from the second movie. They didn't name him in the first one, so I'm assuming it kind of takes elements from the second, but really only references the first one for the most part. You're absolutely right.
Right.
And that's very in vogue at the moment anyway, as we've said many a time. Ignore everything but the first movie. Ignore everything but the first movie whilst taking bits from the other movies. Is the way to go. But yeah, Anthony is an artist, and he lives in Chicago with his girlfriend, who's like an art gallery director. And he's basically looking for inspiration. He's kind of, having a bit of a block creative with his creativity, and he's got a gig coming up. He's got a gallery to fill, or part of a gallery that they want him to fill. And he takes inspiration from the Cabrini Green projects.
Mm-hmm.
And he hears about the legends of Helen Lyle. And one of the things I really like about this movie, actually, is that it does a really good job with urban legend and storytelling, where we see residents of Cabrini Green talking about Helen from the first movie and the Candyman. And it's not always accurate. It's like it's their memory or what they've heard happened, which is kind of fun. Like, where it's not like they everyone they meet tells them the correct story. Like, things are changed slightly where they heard this, or this happened, and supposedly this happened. And it's all done with like puppets, like paper cutout silhouettes, which is really creepy and cool. So we kind of see the over the years, the legend of Helen is like almost as big as the legend of the Candyman, and what she did or didn't do during that time. It's for the most part you know the plot, where it's certainly by the halfway point I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure I can see where this is ending up. Particularly with Tony Todd's cameo, which was like, I can see where this is going. and I wasn't terribly surprised when we got there. I wasn't terribly sold on the ending, but for the most part, I really enjoyed this movie. It's got some really good, kills and scares. It doesn't rely on jump scares like because the sequels leaned heavily into jump scare territory, and there's a lot less of that here.
My memory of the sequels is very vague.
I remember the second one reasonably well because I still own that. The third one, I like vague memories of these days.
I know I've seen it. Couldn't tell you what happens in it.
Sure, it's Day of the Dead, so it's that one. It's the one with all of that in it.
Oh, okay. That does bring back a few things.
Yeah, there's like a parade in it, and there's a Day of the Dead parade and all that stuff in it, if I remember rightly. So it's overall I thought a really competent film. It's a good it's certainly a better sequel than the other sequels, right? Low bar, but it's certainly feels like a true sequel to the original. I think it does the original justice in a lot of ways. You do get that oppressive feel of the projects and the area. Obviously there is social commentary in the original. There's social commentary here. It's less nuanced here than in Candyman, the original. But it's not, it's not terrible. It's just occasionally it's so on the nose. You're like, when you've got a film like Candyman, the original, can we stop calling sequels the same name?
Yeah.
Like, original Candyman was...
You don't have to put a numeral in it. Just
give a subtitle or something.
Yeah.
It is just, it's far less nuanced than the original, and occasionally it's kind of so on the nose here that it pulls you out of the movie a bit, where you're like, oh, okay. The film just stops dead for you. It's almost like it does that horrible thing that modern movies feel the need to do, where they have to explain to the audience exactly what they're seeing. It's like, this is what's going on, whereas the original, the original would just show you, acts of oppression or racism. This film will just stop the film to be like, look, racism.
Yeah. Are you paying attention?
Yeah, are you paying attention? So it's fine. It's occasional, but it's a lot less nuanced than the original was. I do hold the original in pretty high regard though, because I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's one of the best slasher movies. To be honest, it's kind of underrated in that regard. I think when people think of slasher movies, they're always like, "Oh, Halloween."
Does it count as a slasher movie?
I think it does.
Because I think it's more.
I mean, it's a. I don't know. Yeah, I think it does.
Okay.
I don't know. Why wouldn't it?
Well, I guess only.
I mean, they're all supernatural by the end.
Yeah.
So
I suppose so.
I guess this one just. Yeah. If Nightmare on Elm Street's a slasher, then I think this is.
I don't think Nightmare on Elm Street's a slasher either.
No.
Well, it's
a grey area.
It's one of those things, isn't it? It's for what he does.
Yeah.
He's a slasher, but it's more than that, because it's to do with dreams and.
Sure.
And I think with the Candyman, it's to do with his sort of legacy and kind of the avatars of that legacy.
Yes, and this film does a very good job of that as well. It's really cool. It does some really cool things with the legacy of the Candyman and the various incarnations of the Candyman throughout history. It's real fun for the most part. Yeah, I genuinely enjoyed this one. And as I said, it was very unexpected for me to find out that it was a sequel, because I had no idea.
I did know it was a sequel.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. So for the most part, like I said, ending slightly disappointed me, but for the most part, really enjoyed it.
Okay.
So what else have you watched, Matt?
So I watched The Terminal List.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I've watched one episode of The Terminal List, and I spoiled the fact that we were going to cover it at the start of the show by leaving the thumbnail up. So, you've seen all of it. What did you think of The Terminal List?
So it's an Amazon exclusive. It's Chris Pratt, Constance Wu, Taylor Kitsch, Riley Keough, and Jan Triplehorn, and what is his name? It's Jai Courtney.
Okay, I have a real soft spot for Jai Courtney.
Do you know? He was in. He started when he turned up. I was like, I know that dude. I cannot place him.
Right.
That dude, and it took me a while. It's like, oh, of course, it's Jai Courtney. Well, maybe. So this is Chris Pratt plays James Reese, who is a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
And him and his team have been hunting this chemical weapons guy in I think it's Afghanistan. Pretty sure it's Afghanistan.
I think so.
And they get a tip off that he's going to be in this compound.
Yeah.
So they gather themselves and they attack this compound, and the operation is a complete and utter shit show.
It's really... So this is the only episode I've watched. I thought this was really tense, and the gunfight was really intense, where people are dying that you think, oh, they're gonna live surely, and it's like, oh god, okay. I thought this was really well directed, actually, this action set piece here.
The action is stupendous. It's really fucking good. The action scenes in this. So basically, no, it's not really spoilers or anything. It goes terribly wrong, and they pretty much all die except for two of them. And when they're back home, the other guy shoots himself.
Yeah.
Only Reese doesn't believe that he shot himself. There are inconsistencies with what happens. I suppose a little spoiler, which it kind of did please me.
The ambush was clearly a setup as well.
Oh god, yeah.
Clearly none of them were meant to walk out of that one.
Yeah. No, it was. There was a few. The problem he has is that his memory of the incident seems compromised.
Yeah.
He says that they had an asset that was with them who was supposed to have intel on them, and he says that he was the guy that got squirrely. He set off these charges, which trapped them. But the audio that was from the audio from the operation says that one of the younger members of the team is the one that panicked and set off these charges. So he seems to be having a problem with his memory. He's been getting headaches. And the thing with his friend who supposedly committed suicide, I actually did like this plot point. It was a very interesting plot point. And it's a little spoiler, but the guy who kills himself, he kills himself with a 9mm gun.
Yeah,
a little bit of pistol, and there's a little thing where he says we used to talk about this all the time. He always had a 45. He put stopping power over, the 9mm at any time. So he always had a Colt 1911, and I had the 9mm. There was no way he shot himself with a 9mm, and I thought that was kind of cool. I did like that little sort of little detail was a kind of cool thing. Yeah. So Reese starts, basically realizing that something's wrong, and when he gets home, he gets home, his wife and his daughter, they're worried about him, but they obviously that they're supportive and stuff, but as things start going wrong, and again, it's not really a spoiler, he goes to have a scan because things aren't adding up, and when he's in the scan, he is attacked, and he fights off these his attackers, and he realizes that these attackers are going to be at his house, and of course, again, a minor spoiler, but not really. When he gets home, his wife and child have been murdered, and then from there, it goes on like that.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Sorry, no, you carry on.
No, I was just gonna say, I from what I saw of this first episode is the only thing I've had time to watch. I thought, Chris Pratt's really good in this role. Actually, he's
really
believable.
He is completely believable as this soldier. He clearly has done his homework. I think this was his baby as well. I think he read the book and wanted to make this. So I think he had a lot of, he had a big hand in this.
Yeah.
I was really happy to see Taylor Kitsch. Taylor Kitsch, I think, is one of those actors that kind of got. He was going to be the next big thing, and I think the movies that he kind of made for reasons that were obviously beyond him sank without a trace. Like John Carter, and
yeah,
there's a couple of other. You think, oh God, if those movies would have just got an audience, I think he'd have been a genuinely bigger name than he is.
Mm.
He's really good. Constance Wu is the reporter that's helping him look into these dealings and what's going on with what's happening. And clearly, it's not really a spoiler to say that there's something is going on with this thing. There is obviously a big conspiracy that leads to Jai Courtney's character, who is the CEO of this company that makes. Well, there's like a mercenary company, but they make drugs and things, and these things unfold.
Yeah.
For the most part, the action is amazing. I really enjoyed a lot of it. There was one episode where it begins to stretch your credulity on how much damage he can take.
Okay.
There's an episode quite later on where it's very First Blood. He's on the run and he's being
jumping off the side of a cliff kind of deal, or
yes.
Okay. It's
full on First Blood. There's stuff that he does in this episode that you're like, how is he still fucking walking? My wife just said, no, he's dead. There's no way.
Yeah, like that's it. I mean, the thing is that First Blood did all of that in a reasonably believable way, and he gets really messed up, and it's only luck that he really survives.
Yeah.
This is a common problem with movies these days. They feel like they have to go so over the top.
Mm.
Like I remember that Terminator movie. Not that you're expecting realism from Terminator necessarily, but whichever the one it was, Genesis, I think it was the one with the car crash on the bridge, and it's like they are all dead, all of them. There is no way they survived that.
Yeah, like that last Batman movie as well. They're all dead.
They're all dead. But yeah,
so Constance Wu's character, the journalist, she makes a couple of mistakes that I just think, why would you do that? If she's a journalist, surely she would know not to do that, but she does anyway.
Right.
And you have to. I know you have to sort of give a little leeway for storytelling and for building up the tension, not make I suppose it's just sort of convenience for her character to get found in certain things, and you think, surely she would know not to do that. She's supposed to be a seasoned journalist, but
yeah,
it's a minor thing. There are some incredibly gory bits in this that I did not expect to see Chris Pratt doing.
Okay.
Did I say? Fuck it. It's not really a spoiler, but he full on guts someone with a tomahawk.
Okay, a tomahawk.
With a tomahawk.
Okay.
With a small little hatchet.
Tomahawk. Yeah, no, I know what a tomahawk is.
No, I didn't mean it. Sorry, I didn't mean you didn't know what a tomahawk was. I was just saying, it's a very stylized tomahawk that he has.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's
you didn't happen to fall into the Old West and come across a tomahawk.
I think it's supposed to be part of the sort of the unit thing.
Okay, yeah, it's like their kind of symbol or mascot kind of deal.
Yeah, he's got he's got this his sort of, I think it's his garage. His garage is where he's got all his, guns and things. He's got like his weapon safe and that, and he has these two tomahawks on the wall, sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
which, like, they're decorative but clearly very sharp, just in case.
Well, they look like, I think they were specially designed, so they just look, they're just steel. They're just
okay.
one piece steel tomahawks, and it's really gory and really grim. I can certainly see why a lot of left-leaning people really hate this show, because it's full on
American loving.
America.
Yeah.
I've got weapons everywhere in my shed, sort of thing. I mean, at one point he's even wearing a cap with an American flag in it, where the stripes are bullets.
Oh God!
So it's clearly, gonna ruffle some feathers. But I think it's a genuinely.
Arguably, though, that's the kind of person I would expect to be on a SEAL team.
Yes.
Just throwing it out there, as
Exactly. It's not what they want to think about, but and he's everything that a lot of these things don't show. He's a good father. He's he's got his code of honor, sort of thing, and it's just a genuinely good and solid action series.
I certainly like I said, I've only watched one episode so far, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great what I've seen of it. So
it's real. At times it's fun. At times it's gory. Pretty much all the performances are great. Jai Courtney is suitably slimy as this CEO. Also, who's a bit of a glory stealer.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Janine Tremblehorn is this senator that's looking into these sorts of things, and you've got Riley Keough, who playing his wife. It's a very it's a small performance, but she's in it more than you think, because she gets killed quite quickly, but she's in sort of flashbacks and he sees her and sort of thing.
Right.
I really loved it. It's really good. It's not as good as Reacher. I think Reacher was better, but it's really nice. It's really enjoyable. It's there's no real pretensions. It's just a great solid action series.
Yeah, cool.
And again, just great performance. I was actually surprised at how I guess grown up Chris Pratt can be, I suppose.
That's the thing. That's why I was looking forward to seeing this. Is just seeing him in a much more serious kind of role than the usual comedy.
And I believe it. I think I genuinely believe that he's this character. It never did I think, oh, it's that guy from Parks and Rec or
Guardians. Yeah,
Guardians. He's not silly at all. He's a genuinely cool character.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good.
And I think there's a number. I think there's a number of books, so it's I'm sure that
there will be more if it does well.
Yeah, I think it's done pretty well so far. So I'm pretty sure that it's going to have some sequel series.
Oh, cool. So what else have you watched? I know you got one more film, right?
Yeah. I will say I'm not going to review it yet because it's not finished. Yeah. But the other thing that I definitely would recommend people watch, which is still going, is The Old Man with Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow. It's an FX show and it's fucking phenomenal. It's so far it's one of the best things I've seen for a while. It's really, really good. And Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow are amazing, which you kind of expect, really.
Yeah.
And that's got a similar sort of. It's set in two time periods. It's set in the 80s and it's set now. And it's Jeff Bridges is this. He's an ex CIA agent, who's been on the run since the 80s, and John Lithgow was his handler, and he's now like a controller of the FBI, or I think it's the FBI, and it's how their relationship sort of happened, and how whatever they did in Afghanistan in the 80s is having repercussions now, and
okay.
It's about legacy, and it's really fucking good.
Huh.
So yes, as I said, I haven't finished it. It isn't finished yet, but I strongly recommend people see that because I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, cool.
So the last movie I have seen is called The Sea Beast.
The Sea Beast, yes.
So this is a Netflix movie. It's I guess a kids movie stroke family movie. It stars the voice talents of Carl Urban, Zaris Angel Hector, Marianne Jean-Baptiste, and Jared Harris. And it's basically set in this world where these giant sea beasts attack settlements, and you have these the hunters who go out and hunt these enormous beasts.
Right.
And at the very beginning, you're introduced to there's a small boy survives this wreckage, and he grows up to be Carl Urban's character of Jacob, and he was rescued by Jared Harris's character of Captain Crow, and they seem to be the best hunters there are.
Right.
And during one of the hunt, there's this legendary beast called I think it's called Red. Well, what is it called? Red Bluster, I think they call it.
Right.
And they're hunting this ginormous red monster, and they spot this other ship that's in danger, and it's being attacked by this other creature, and they've got to make a decision whether to rescue these people or carry on hunting in a sort of Moby Dick kind of style. This creature took the captain's eye, and he's determined to hunt this red bluster. But Jacob persuades the captain to we've got a code. We have to go and rescue this ship.
Yeah.
So they turn round, they rescue this other ship. They hunt this creature, and then they go back to sort of the city, and the king and queen. Supposedly they hunt beasts. They come back to the king and queen. The king and queen pay them.
Right.
Only this time the queen and the king and queen say, "Well, we saw that you didn't hunt the red bluster. We saw that you made a decision to rescue these people. We don't pay you to rescue people. We pay you to hunt monsters. There's a new plan. We're doing away with the hunters, and we've got this new admiral, and we've got this new ship." And they're going to go and deal with it. We don't need you anymore.
Okay.
So, the captain says, "Okay, well, I'll tell you what. The ship they've built is ginormous with just cannons all over the fucking."
Right.
He says basically, "Okay, you then give us one more trip, and if we can catch it, then the hunters will carry on. If the admiral catches it, then we'll give up."
Mm-hmm.
And then you are introduced to Maisie, who is this small orphan girl who reads stories of the hunters, and her parents apparently were hunters on this ship that went down, I think, with all hands. So she is the child of hunters that served on this famous ship, and she's sneaking out, and she's joining. She stows away on the ship, and she becomes their sort of cabin girl, as it were, sort of thing. The animation for the ships and the ocean is absolutely stunning. The boats are really, really well done. The first creature you see, I thought was quite a nice design. It was sort of like this weird sort of fish tentacle thing, which was really, really nice. The red bluster looks like it's made of plastic, and has the vague look of Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, okay. So I saw a screenshot of that when I was looking for a thumbnail of this. Yeah.
Yeah. So it starts off really good. I was actually really quite impressed with how it starts off. And then slowly it becomes something else. It starts being incredibly preachy.
Preachy?
Oh, yeah.
About what? The monarchy? Or...
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was joking, but okay, cool.
No.
So, okay.
So, about not quite halfway through, when they're hunting this red creature, and she cuts these ropes that she's not supposed to, because the ship is being dragged down by the monster, and the captain is full on being a Captain Ahab, and he's
sure, yeah,
he's still the beast. Don't you cut the ropes? And the little girl cuts the ropes. Jacob lets her cut the ropes. From Carl Urban's character starts off being this incredibly competent guy who is when they're fighting the first monster, he's running around the ship, stopping people going overboard and cutting tentacles to rescue the crew, and he's doing all these amazing things. As soon as the girl turns up, he's an idiot.
Right.
And there is this moment where she is, reading these books, and she says, "Oh, can you be a hero and be wrong?" And they literally say, "Oh, the history, we shouldn't be believing the history books. The history books are wrong."
In this world, the history books are wrong.
Well, yes, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like they're telling you a message.
Okay.
They're clearly saying, don't believe the history books. The history books are only written by rich people.
Yeah.
The monster, these sea beasts, they're not horrible monsters at all. The kings and queens.
I mean, the big red one does look kind of cute.
They started this war to get rich. You're not sure how they got rich by starting this war, but
it sounds like they're spending an awful lot of money, actually. But
yeah, this is what doesn't really make sense. They're paying them to hunt these monsters.
Like they're paying vast amounts of money.
Making money is I don't know. But by the end of it, the Maisie gives this big speech to the people and saying how all these books that they've been reading, they all have the crown symbol on it. So they've been telling us lies all this time. It absolutely fucking infuriated me.
Oh no.
I hate this fucking movie with a passion.
Oh. It sounded quite positive when you started,
As I said, the animation's really good. For the most part, the performances are quite good. Gerard Harris is great as Captain Crow. Carl Urban, his character starts off quite well. There's this really interesting dynamic set up between these two characters, him and Captain Crow, and Captain Crow saying, when I die, this ship was mine, it was my father's, it was my grandfather's. When I die, I'm leaving it to you.
Uh-huh.
And it's clearly got a message about legacy.
Right.
Being a very bad thing. And yeah, it's awful. I would never let a kid watch this movie if it, I don't have kids, but if I did.
But if you did, they wouldn't be watching this.
They would not be watching this awful, preachy fucking movie.
Oh,
it's terrible. Stay the fuck away from it. It all costs. It's not worth it. Watch How to Train Your Dragon. They have a.
Do you know, I've never watched those either. They do look fun though.
They're really good. They are really good. They have a message of, these they're dragons, but they're not evil monsters.
Sure. Yeah.
That's fine.
Don't judge a book by its cover and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that as your message.
No.
What I do have a problem is when they're like browbeating you and trying to tell you that you shouldn't be reading history. History's full of rubbish, and you're told nonsense by these people. It was the worst kind of I'm gonna say it. It's the worst kind of communist fucking propaganda I've ever seen.
God damn!
It's
He's even got a giant red monster.
It's, I mean, well, I mean, yes. I mean, funnily enough, I didn't actually make that connection, but now you mentioned it. I mean, I know that it makes me sound like a fucking, you know.
Oh no, I mean it's true.
Conspiracy theorist.
It's the impression you've got, you know.
Genuinely, I think it was awful. It was just so badly done. They built a diverse world where the crew of these ships are all races.
Yeah, sure.
All colours, and there are.
I can see that from the thumbnail.
You know,
yeah.
There were lady generals and all that sort of stuff. That wasn't an issue. There was no issue with that whatsoever. It's when it started digging at this sort of, history is only made by rich people, and they're all terrible because all they want is money. Wars are bad, and we should, if we only stop wars, we could all settle down with the monsters and be fine. Fuck off. Seriously. I mean, all right, no. It was a terrible movie, and I hated it.
There we go. You ran the gambit today. From great, amazing to like average to awful.
Yeah. That's very true.
I just had average and pretty good, so I did all right. I haven't watched I have been watching TV. This is why I haven't watched the Terminal list much, because I've been keeping up with the Orville, which continues to be excellent. I haven't watched today's episode yet, but loving that so far. And Strange New Worlds, which is up and down, but I'm enjoying an awful lot more than I was expecting to enjoy.
Not touching that with a barge pole. I know you.
No, that's fair. I'm actually genuinely surprised at how good some of this is. There's certainly some retconning going on, though.
The last episode I heard, they literally remake Balance of Terror, which is my favorite.
So I believe that's the season finale. Obviously we're not there because we're behind America.
Oh, okay, I see. Right.
But I have heard that that's what they do, isn't it? Something to do with Pike deciding to I think sacrifice himself, because they've got this kind of dumb thing since Discovery where he knows his future now, and he knows his fate.
He knows he's going to cark it. Well, not cark it, but become the sort of crippled.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb that the Klingons gave him the Klingons that were in charge of these time crystals in season 2 of Discovery, which it's just Discovery. They showed him his They showed him his future using a time crystal, but they only showed his future up to the point where he was a horribly crippled, unable to talk wreck of a man because of radiation, and neglected to show the bit when in the end it all turns out fine for him.
Yeah.
They neglected that bit. So they've only showed him the really shit part. Not the bit where he's going to live in peace with the woman he loves for the rest of his life in paradise, even though, it's a fake paradise, but it's a paradise, right? It worked out okay. So he's kind of dealing with that. And as I understand, I think that last episode, deals with the consequences of him not choosing not to take that path or whatever. So we're not there yet.
The idea that you can change Balance of Terror just...
Well, I'm assuming it would change if he chooses to do.
I mean, I understand that it's not a thing; it's a thing. But no.
Yeah, I haven't got there yet, so I can't really say beyond what I've heard of it. But so far, it's been all right for the most part. They've changed. They are retconning quite a bit. The Gorn are now like fucking full-on villains, which is weird because from my memory of the Gorn, they were always fiercely territorial and pretty much would attack anyone that went in their space. But in this, they're like full-on attacking. They're just going around marauding and attacking starships and stuff, and it's like they only really did that from my memory when they were in their space, so they've kind of retconned a lot of that. But
that's meeting the Gorn too early anyway, isn't it?
Well, they haven't so far in the show. They haven't met them face to face. There are survivors from so there are people on the ship that have met or been involved with the Gorn before,
right?
From like other races and stuff, and they're kind of horror stories of the Gorn and things. I'm assuming they're building the Gorn to be the big bad of Strange New Worlds ultimately.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I've enjoyed. Sorry.
I said, I suppose if you need a bad guy, I guess choosing the Gorn is better than some. I suppose.
Well, I mean, for the most part, I guess it's mostly untapped.
Yeah.
I mean, was it like one episode of TOS, one episode of Enterprise? That's about it.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Actually, Enterprise did the Gorn thing way too early already. They've already done that. Doesn't Archer kill a Gorn in
yeah, they're a lot different though, aren't they? They're almost like another bloody species in there.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to show them in this or not. At the moment, it was just their ships, so it's been space based. But it feels like they're ultimately building towards that. But yeah, it's been up and down. Some episodes have been shite. Some episodes have been pretty good. So overall, it's kind of evening out to be okay. The Orville is fantastic, though. Like, just full-on brilliant. Every episode I've seen so far. Unless today's is an absolute mess. It's like every episode I have absolutely loved so far, and I look forward to every Thursday. Remember when you used to look forward to the next time the show is on? Yeah. That I haven't had this for so long, and now I'm like, oh, Thursday, yes, Orville.
I've kind of got that with the old man at the moment. I think
that's great. It's so nice. Like, it's been so long since I've had that. That, like, oh, I can't wait for this day of the week to finish work and watch the Orville or watch my favourite show. Like, that I haven't had that for so long. Probably since Doctor Who. Like, when I used to really like Doctor Who. It's been that long for me since I've... Because a lot of shows since then have all been like, well, they're all released at the same time or, you know, whatever. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the Orville, so it's been good fun. But yeah, as a result, I haven't finished the Terminal List, but I will finish it because it does look really good.
Yeah, I really recommend it. It's good. It's a really good show.
So anyway, is there anything else?
We should mention James Caan.
We should mention James Caan. You're absolutely right. Hell of a career.
82, yeah.
We should also mention Alan Grant as of today. Not film related, but comic book related.
Yes.
But yeah. But yeah, James Caan, Jesus, what a career.
Yeah, Alien Nation, Misery, Rollerball, which is one of my...
I love Rollerball.
I love Rollerball. I think that's a great movie.
I love a lot of those, like, social commentary movies from the 70s and early 80s I'm a big fan of.
Yeah. When I think they were doing it right.
Rollerball does it really well.
Yeah.
I mean, that is some biting commentary in that you talk about corporate America or whatever. Yeah. Rollerball's great.
Obviously, I think its biggest success is probably The Godfather.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, wonderful, wonderful actor.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
And that's kind of it. There's a brief thing I saw that Ryan Gosling apparently wants to play Ghost Rider. Which I guess I could see.
I could see it. Whether they do Ghost Rider any justice is...
I mean, I have no faith in the MCU right now at all these days. So the idea that they could do a decent Ghost Rider movie baffles me. I just can't see it. I mean, let's face it. The two Ghost Rider movies that exist aren't good movies.
No.
I kind of feel sorry for Cage, because I think he
loves that character so much.
He so wanted those movies to be good.
That first film is fucking terrible.
Oh, it's awful. Really,
I think from memory the second one is a bit better, but
it is.
Like I still don't think it was very good.
Not good. No. I mean, his performance is better, I think, in the second one. He plays him with this weird sort of swagger that I quite like.
I do kind of question. I mean, maybe this is just me. I kind of question whether Ghost Rider would make for a good film anyway. I've always kind of seen Ghost Rider. I'm like, there's some kind of cool things, but for the most part, he just exists to look cool on
Ghost Rider
comic covers. Like, he looks cool. He just looks really cool. But beyond that,
well, when he's with other,
yes, as ensemble, absolutely. That I could see.
Marvel spooky characters,
like Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
great ensemble. Don't make a film about Harley Quinn. That's
Quinn.
kind of how I feel about Ghost Rider. Where I'm like, if Ghost Rider's guesting in something, or he's turning up.
I think they were planning on doing the Midnight Suns at one point, which is
okay.
A team of the sort of the weirder characters, and I Ghost Rider's one of them. I'm guessing he's going to be playing the Johnny Blaze version, if he is playing Ghost Rider. But I could see that.
I could see him. I mean, Ryan Gosling's fantastic. So
so I've got no problem with that. Just a shame that it's the current Disney doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of bored of superhero movies anyway, to be honest. So at this point, and I do feel like, as well crafted as most of those Marvel movies are, until like more recent ones have definitely felt a lot worse, in my opinion.
I just forgot. I actually did watch the Doc Strange movie.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah,
it's awful, isn't it?
It's.
I mean, you could feel there are scenes of Raimi. There are scenes of Raimi,
so annoying, isn't it?
And it's great to see how even in that in that kind of corporate Disney structure, he still managed to keep so much of his style.
Yeah, there were some genuinely creepy moments where you just think, God, that is. And the music is so spot on as well. The music was really good, actually, in certain bits. Some of the the bits where he's controlling the dead.
Yeah. It's all very Evil Dead, Army of Darkness kind of.
Yeah, it's really Remy, but it's a bit of a stinker.
It's a real mess.
What did make me laugh is that I know it was chopped and changed and recut, but what I find hilarious is the initial test audiences for when the original cut said that the America Chavez character was absolutely unlikable.
Okay.
She apparently was so awful that they recut her character to make her more, I guess, sympathetic and a more likable character. And I thought she was pretty meh.
I didn't find her. I must admit, I didn't find her unlikable. It
did make me think, wow, how bad was she originally, though?
Yeah, I didn't find her unlikable.
No, she was fine. It was. I think there was just enough of her in it to make you go, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I do struggle to be like now.
I am a lot of very baffling stuff with just Scarlet Witch.
Her logic and the logic of the film is
the fact that
like,
she keeps
hey,
saying,
I've got access to the entire multiverse and every infinite possibilities of the multiverse, and it's like, do you want to find one where Vision's alive? No.
Yeah,
okay, don't worry about it then. Don't bother. Do you want to find one where you've got your made up invented kids and they don't have their mother, so you don't have to kill yourself in that universe?
Sure, there's a universe out there where the kids survive and the parents don't, and they're in need of a mother.
Yeah, no, let's not worry about that.
It was terrible.
And the bloody they keep bloody introducing things that are so powerful that if they just went and got it, they could have ended Infinity War in the first chapter. Yeah, like I just wait. Why are you? It's this constant need. Like every movie has to big up, be up one on the last movie.
To dig at the choices of previous movies. The scene at the beginning where he's at the wedding,
but it doesn't even work though, because it's like
down and says, "Couldn't you have done it different? Oh, you made a decision. I think you could have made it better." It's like, fuck off, buddy.
Well, to be fair though, that movie does actually show that he could have done it better, because he could have gone and got a book the entire time that would have undone all of it and just killed Thanos in a second.
Yeah,
but he chose not to use it. I guess it's like I don't know what they're what started as quite a tight continuity in the MCU is unraveling fast in front of us.
They just can't.
And we're moving into for me, it's like it's got to the stage where we're in that. Not that I really watch them anymore, but whenever I see one now, I'm like, oh god, they've reached that Fox X-Men stage where you have to ignore the continuity of every other movie and just go in with this one.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you start thinking about the implications of things in this movie for things in other movies, it's starting to be like, what? Because because I've not watched Thor, whatever, Love and Thunder, but apparently they've got something in that could have killed Thanos immediately as well.
Yeah.
Like you could just get any wish granted.
Yeah, there's a wish,
and apparently Thor knew about it and just didn't do it.
Yeah.
It's so, like he had the whole like PTSD thing in Endgame, and now apparently he's had the ability to undo it all at any point, even during the first film. Could have just been like, hey, Thanos was never born. Okay. But apparently didn't. Just chose not to, and chose to deal with PTSD all that time, without even ever considering that he could just go and do that. But
yeah, fine.
It's getting real messy now. It's getting real messy. But but every now and again, I mean, I really enjoyed that Spider-Man movie. That one I didn't think I was gonna like. I really enjoyed. So every now and again.
I think that was one of those outliers, wasn't it? It was sort of. I
think so. I mean,
there's enough Sony in it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I only saw Doc Strange because my housemate wanted to.
Sony's pretty ropey at times as well, so
Whilst didn't Sony immediately turn around and make Morbius, which apparently is
awful, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
Another film I haven't seen, but I don't think I'll bother.
No, I'm sure I'll catch it eventually when it's on something.
Have you ever seen the deleted scene from the end of Blade with Mobius? I never knew that was a thing.
Where he's stood on the building.
I didn't know that was a thing. I only discovered that about a month ago. I think because I guess the Mobius movie come out, or Morbius movie come out. I guess they did the rounds on YouTube, and I was like, I have never seen that before. That would have been so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great, because they would have probably done something interesting with him back then.
Well, especially in the Blade universe, it could have been properly dark and cool. But never mind.
Yeah, those first two Blade movies are fucking awesome.
Yeah, the third one is not.
No, the third one's fucking awful.
The second one's kind of naff towards the end, but Ron Perlman and Wesley Snipes,
Yeah, them sniping, and I love who would have thought that one of the guys from Bros would make a genuinely terrifying bad guy?
Yeah, he kind of does. Yeah, he does a good job,
and he's great in the second Hellboy movie as well.
Yes, he is. Yeah, but yeah,
never a million years thought that somebody from Bros would actually be a relatively good actor.
No.
I mean, I know he's been in some terrible movies. I've seen some of his other movies, and they're not good, but. In those two, he's really
Del Toro knew what he was,
I guess so. I guess Del Toro knew how to handle him, I suppose. Knew how to direct him.
Yeah. But yeah, well, it goes to show how forgettable that was that you forgot that you saw Doc Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
Yeah. But never mind. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? I already know what we're doing for our next film, so I don't need to ask you this time.
Our next movie is Tron.
Never heard of it.
I mean, it's only one of your favourite movies.
It's only one of my favourite movies of all time. It is my go-to make me happy movie.
It is 40 years old this year.
Jesus Christ.
Which is damn depressing, but never mind.
Yeah, Tron has always been my, if I'm feeling depressed or down or I'm having a bad day, Tron will always cheer me up. It's my,
It is a good, and
it's great.
We've discussed it before, and we will discuss it next week. I still like the second one too.
I have softened substantially on my feelings on the second one. That's a film I have almost completely turned around on. I hated it when I saw it, first of all, and I really like it now. I've really changed my mind over time. Yeah, weird how that happens sometimes,
Yeah.
But yeah, I've totally changed my mind on that movie. But yeah. Cool. Well, we will catch you next time. Until then, stay safe and take care. And catch you in the next one.
Bye.